Hi everyone, so today we are going to present to you an example of quantitative research. This study is related to the depression and anxiety in women with breast cancer and their partners. So before we start, let me first introduce our team. Athena Mia Lumandas, Camille Paz Acosta, Trisha May Brunyosa, Carol Jasper Kagampan, Yanis Sally, Hannah Ruth Joy Flores, Hauyan Soledad, Princess Ivan Gayagoy, Alexandra Calistagil Bromeo, and Ruben Lay Carriazo. So what is the purpose of the study? The purpose of the study was to evaluate the effectiveness of telephone-delivered psychosocial interventions in decreasing depression and anxiety in women with breast cancer and their partners. For the method of the study, a total of 96 women with breast cancer and their partners were recruited to participate in the study. Two different but complementary interventions were implemented using a telephone delivery method. The 6-week telephone interpersonal counseling intervention combined cancer education with interpersonal counseling that targeted the social support behavior of both cancer survivors and their partners. The other 6-week telephone intervention focused on self-managed exercise. Study participants were allocated, based on a lottery-type system, to either one of the two interventions or to a control group that received neither treatment but that got printed information and briefly weekly calls. All study participants, including partners, were interviewed before the study began, and then 6 weeks and 10 weeks later. The interviews included scales that measured levels of depression and anxiety. For the key findings, the analysis suggested that anxiety was reduced for both the women and their partners, in both the telephone interpersonal counseling intervention and self-managed exercise intervention groups, but not in the control group. Depression decreased over time in all three groups. In their conclusion, both telephone-delivered interventions were effective in improving psychological quality of life when compared with non-receipt of either intervention. So, how relevant is the research problem in this report to the actual practice of nursing? Does the study focus on a topic that is a priority area for nursing research? Yes. This study focuses on a topic that is one of the priority areas for nursing research, which is the improvement of psychological quality of life and is very relevant to the actual practice of nursing. This is because through this study, the nurses will be aware of the most effective way of improving psychological quality of life, which is the telephone interpersonal counseling intervention and self-managed exercise, and they could apply it in the actual practice of nursing. What is the underlying purpose of the study? Does the purpose correspond to an evidence-based practice focus, such as treatment, diagnosis, prevention of harm, etiology, or meaning? The underlying purpose of the study is prediction and control. And yes, the purpose of the study corresponds to an evidence-based practice focus because it evaluates the effectiveness of telephone-delivered psychosocial interventions in reducing the depression and anxiety in women with breast cancer and their partners. Is this study fundamentally cost-probing? Yes, this study has a significant purpose and is fundamentally cost-probing because it evaluated the effectiveness of telephone-delivered psychosocial interventions in decreasing depression and anxiety in women with breast cancer and their partners. In this study, the use of TIPC and EX has been illuminated as the most effective intervention when it comes to reducing the anxiety and depression of women with breast cancer and their partners. What might be some clinical implications of this research? Some of the clinical implications of this research is that it would be beneficial for the contemplation, beginning from its prognosis to treatment process, until it reaches the patterns of failure or the attainment of success. However, this study is also designed for the analytical review of the existing data, which may go through in the context of practical application in order to properly incorporate the analysis of breast cancer awareness, as well as for the connection of the management of depression and anxiety to such clinical practices. To what type of people and settings is the research most relevant? Evidence-based research in the matter of depression and anxiety in accordance to acquiring breast cancer has further been evaluated to have its highest relevance mostly for women and could also take part in the area of both hospital and community settings. An elucidation for this type of conclusion is that the development of breast cancer for women is much higher than men, which may create a rationale that the breasts of the men are seen to be more flat and has fewer ducts and lobules, unlike in most women that their breasts are seen to be fully formed, although the breast tissues for both are just similar. Moreover, most breast cancers in women is being developed from those ducts and lobules, which on the other hand is considered to be not crucial for men, for they do not have merely produce large amounts of it in contrary to most women. Thus, these scientific bases may serve as a ground or basis that women are the ones who may be off target in terms of relevance for this research study, and that this type of health problem has always been foreseen within a community, as well as in the hospital setting, to where it should have its diagnosis and treatment. If the findings are accurate, how might the results of the study be used by you? To every woman who has acquired a breast cancer as well as their partners, if the result would be evaluated to have its accuracy and efficiency, we, as a researcher under the medical field, would be able to use this type of study as a great tool on how we are going to assess or handle a patient with the same procurement of disease in the future. For we believe that due to the increasing number of those who are afflicted by this type of health problem as being profounded, it is possible that this would still have its effect of inevitability, as is, it would be beneficial on our part to advance our knowledge and skills with regards to this health matter. And that brings us to the end. Thank you so much for your interest and attention.